for those of you who didn't hear it, I went on McAfee. I've known McAfee forever. I love him. We come on, and I told him I believe Davante Adams is going to be on the Jets this year, which I do believe. And he wants to make me a bet. Now we're making a bet. So did you hear what his first thing he wanted me to put up was?
I did not hear that.
He said, I'm not even going to use the letter. You know the one word that you absolutely can't say on television, right? Like it starts with the letter F?
Yes,
I'm
aware.
Okay, if I win, meaning him, you say that on Get Up. And I was like, what's the matter with you? Like, there's literally like 3 ways I can get fired. That's one of them. I'm not betting that. So that's how we wound up landing on, I will do a day of TV and radio, so I'll do Get Up and Greeny dressed as McAfee. If the Jets don't wind up getting Davante Adams this year, I'll wear the tank top and all the rest of that.
You stand up the whole time?
Yeah, he does do it standing. I don't know that I'll stand up during this show the whole time. Maybe I'll stand up during Get Up. We'll see. I don't think this is going to happen.
You got a lot of lifting to do.
I think I'm going to win. Well, so that's where this does become a little complicated. So for all the fun we make of Hembo, you're a decently well-built guy. Like, you look like you've thrown a weight or two around.
I'm no McAfee, but I'm decently well-built.
Like, you're built a little bit.
A little bit.
So when I make this bet, I come home. Stace, of course, has heard about it. And she says to me, you are going to have to wear, not even hello. I walk in the door of my house. I do not even get hello. I get, you're going to have to wear a shirt under the tank top. And I said, what do you mean? And she said, you are not wearing a tank top on television. And I didn't push it because I felt the more I pried into why she felt that way, the less happy I was going to be with the answer. I do assume I'm going to need to get like a spray tan. Like, I'm going to need to go in there and get like, because I just don't have the time in my schedule to get like as tan as I feel like I would need to be to not look ridiculous. Because you put me right now in a tank top and I turn sideways, like, you're not going to know I'm in the room. Like, there's a 50-50 shot. People are like, where is Greeny? And then I'll turn at a different, oh, he's actually standing right there. I just didn't see him because he was, his body was square to us.
Yeah.
So anyway, this is the bet that I have with McAfee now. What do you think of this?
I think that this has almost no upside for you because it's not likely that Davante Adams winds up on your team.
Why is it not likely?
Well, because a lot would have to happen in
not
order
that
to pull
much.
it off.
I think very realistic things would have to happen.
You're acting as if no other team would be interested in him if the Raiders would want to trade him.
I think that there was one place he would be interested in going, and it would make all the sense in the world. And I can see the Jets being willing to give up more than anybody else to get him for 2 reasons. 1, because they're so desperately all in, more than any other team maybe ever. 2, because where is he stepping in and making a bigger impact immediately than in an offense he knows, with a quarterback he knows? Do you know what I mean? Like, put him anywhere else. Houston, any other team that's good and might be looking to add a receiver at the deadline. I just used Houston as an example. I have no, you know what I mean? Anybody else? It's going to take him some time. You got to learn the offense. Yeah, he can run a few plays the first week, but he doesn't know all the plays. He's got to learn the quarterback. They got to get Aaron Rodgers, Davante Adams know each other as well as a quarterback and receiver ever have. He knows the offense. It's the offense he played in all those years. And the much maligned Nathaniel Hackett is the guy there. He can step right in without missing a beat. So he's worth more to them at the end of October as we approach the trade deadline, I think, than he is to anyone else.
I agree. The Jets also happen to have an extra 3rd-round pick in next year's draft, which certainly help. But there's another team in their division, the Buffalo Bills, that have an extra 2. So I could see a world in which those 2 teams are duking it out for Davante Adams at the trade deadline. I could see that world.
And I don't know how much control over that a guy like Adams will have.
Right.
But you know that's what he wants.
No doubt.
You know he wants to go play with Aaron again.
I mean, they're already saying so publicly, very intentionally.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to win this bet, is what I'm trying to say.
I'd much rather see you as McAfee.
No, you would not.
I would much rather see
I will be so happy. I'll dress as anything you want if we get Davante Adams.
What's the most exposed you've ever been on the air?
Whoa.
Well, it's an interesting question. So I would say there was when I lost the wager that year and I had to do the dance. Remember with the Dancing with the Stars dancer, Anna Trebunskaya was her name, lovely woman, great dancer, and I thought we did a really good job.
Me too.
I had to wear a very tight outfit. It wasn't so much exposed as it was. What's the word I'm looking for?
It wasn't leaving much to the imagination.
There was a silhouette, kind of a feel to the whole thing.
But everything was covered.
It was very tight. Everything was covered. But in the case of this, like, would it be cheating? Because here's the thing: if I go on with a McAfee style tank top, it's like a black tank top, but I have like a jersey underneath it, the McAfee guys are going to kill me,
Yeah,
right? They're going to obliterate me, Cam. Right? I mean, so like, I think I've got
to be full tank top. You got to wear a chain. Mm-hmm. He wears a chain as well around his neck.
Yeah.
Do you have to dress like McAfee, or do you have to also act like McAfee too?
Well, I don't even. I mean, what would constitute that exactly?
I mean, calling out coworkers or something. But
no, I'm not gonna.
But
no, none of that. We'll have none of that.
But I'd like to see that, as much as I think Davante Adams has a non-zero chance to be a Jet. I think it would be hilarious for you to do that for 2 days straight, or a day straight even. You also mentioned that you want his guys to come work the shows with you. So is AJ Hawk going to be producing Get Up or something?
Don't you think it would be funny?
Very funny.
AJ Hawk's going to make a trivia question for Dan Graziano.
Don't you think that would be fun?
Very fun.
If one day
Ty Schmidt runs the board here.
Look, in in a real world, like, we're all one network, right? We should all be friends, and we should all do stuff, and we should all do stunts together, and like, that's the world I want to live in, and so I'm.
What are the stakes for him, though?
Well, that's the one thing that we forgot to nail down.
He has
Well,
to
that's
dress
not
like you.
Really good negotiating by you.
Well, what happened was, I was in a car. I was doing this interview with him in a car, and it was right around then that I got where I was going.
Okay.
And so, like, I got out, and that was how the conversation ended. So you're right. You bring up a very good point. We have not covered yet I think what actually has to happen is that. No, now I don't remember exactly what we made. I think you're right. I think we do not have in place the wager of what happens when I win.
Yeah, that's not really a wager.
And I will get that in there, though. We got time.
So
they're not trading for Davante Adams tomorrow.
No, certainly not. So he'll do something. We'll agree that he will do something.
Yes, it's not just a one-way bet.
Well, so far, that's all it is. It's a one-way
No, we've
bet.
only established one side of the stakes. We have to establish the other.
What if instead of you just dressing like McAfee on your shows, you do McAfee on McAfee, and he does Get Up and this show?
I mean, I think there would be amusing elements to that.
Yeah.
But there are some decisions that can never be unmade, and I fear that could prove to be one of them. Like, that would be one from which we may never make it back. So I think we don't.
We'll be overdoing the bit.
But then you could say the word that you're not allowed to say.
Yeah,
in the third hour of his show.
And yet I don't. There was no part of me that regrets not being able to.
I thought that you went on his air.
You said it already, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he egged me into it, and
every time you go on
in front of a crowd of a college game day audience,
I know,
no less.
I know. And then he said, and I quote, "Mr. Rogers just said that word on TV." He referred to me as Mr. Rogers, and so, look, I don't know. One way or another, I hope to win this bet primarily because I think that it would mean two things. Well, it would mean one thing that I don't care about, which is the Raiders being bad. I have no ill will against the Raiders, except that I need them to be bad in order to be willing to trade away Davante Adams, and I am counting on them being bad.
They will be.
And then the other side of it is the Jets being good enough that they're still willing, that they're still in the market to be like trading and trying to add pieces. And I do think that's going to happen too. So I have a reasonably good feeling about the entire thing.
I think the entire construct of the Jets right now, all the conversation, all of the discourse, all the debate is totally ill-placed. This team has the best defense in the NFL by a lot. A much improved offensive line, good skill position players, a top 5 running back. This team is stacked. We're asking the question, does Aaron Rodgers need to play at an MVP level? The answer is no, and if he does, this team's going to be unbelievable. Joe Douglas has built a top 5 roster. All the coaching staff and the quarterback have to do is not get in the way.
Yeah.
Truly.
And add a piece or two here or there if they can, and I agree with you. I mean, I think that there is a real chance this thing goes well. There is always that nagging voice in the back of your head, and when you root for a franchise that has had the kind of bad luck that this one has had, if you are a lifelong fan, there's always that nagging voice of what horrible, heartbreaking thing is going to happen to us. But the logical part of me does agree with you. There is a very real chance that the Jets are really good.
Find me the weakness. Find me a weakness on the team. The only thing I can point to is standing on the sideline. There's not a position group on the entire team that you would say is a liability. Not one. You are worried about the head coach. You're worried about the offensive coordinator. That's it. If those guys can merely do their job to an average degree, the Jets are going to be one of the last teams standing.